Wellspring by Teresa Hampton. You look like. I was pushing a cart in the grocery store, minding my own business, when this man, a police officer, started staring at me. He followed me down several aisles and continued to stare. Finally, I smiled and said hello. He smiled back and said, You look like someone I know. You have a twin." To which I replied, "I hope she's a nice person." He laughed and said she was indeed a nice person. We both went on our way. When people see you or me, who do we look like? Do we look like Jesus? Do we exhibit Christ-likeness? It's not enough to just talk about it. We must walk the walk. Ephesians 4, verse 1, chapter 5, verse 2, and verse 8, and verse 15. If we want to look like Christ, we'll do certain things with all people, whether Christian or not, and we'll avoid other things. 1. Seek knowledge of God's Word instead of seeking earthly knowledge or wisdom. 1 Corinthians 3, verses 18 and 19. 2. Serve others rather than expecting people to serve us. John 13, verses 14 through 17. 3. Seek those who are spiritually lost instead of sitting placidly within our comfort zone. Matthew 28, verse 19. 4. Teach, and teach some more, even when we're tired. Matthew 28, 20. 5. Take a lesser position instead of seeking the high spot. Luke 14, verses 7 through 9. 6. Turn the other cheek rather than plotting revenge. Matthew 5:39 and Romans 12, verses 19 through 21. 7. Hold our tongue instead of speaking our mind. James 1, verse 19. 8. Encourage brothers and sisters rather than bringing them down a notch. Hebrews 12, verses 13 and 14. 9. Handle trials with grace and hope instead of despair. Hebrews 6, verse 19. 10. Go in humility to those who sin, rather than exposing their weaknesses to others. Galatians 6, verses 1 and 2. Summing up, loving others and seeking their good. 1 Peter 4:8. As children of God, let us walk the walk of Christ-likeness. At all times and at every place, people should be able to say, "You look like Jesus." Today's verse, "Therefore be imitators of God as dear children, and walk in love as Christ also has loved us and given himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling aroma." Ephesians 5, verses 1 and 2.